Hello, everybody. I took an extra minute because I went ahead and upgraded my StreamYard, and I was playing around with it before I started, and I couldn't figure out how to add myself back on the screen because there's these cool things you can add, and I removed myself somehow, and then I had to play around for a hot second to get myself back on. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so last night I did a why can't I put a freaking ponytail in to save my life? Like, honestly. Okay, you can see how my hair is slipping right now. I really am not going to be distracted this time, guys. I promise. I'm just getting it together. Okay, so hold on. Let's redo the redo of the redo. Right? Whatever. It is what it is. Okay. I'm lopsided. Why can't I make it work? There we go. Hello, Just Jen, Henrietta, Mother Pugger, CM. That's adorable. CLTD, Doc MD, I like that. Dan, ADHD mommy, not dummy, which is what my brain reads when I see that. Okay, so happy, yes. Okay, so anyway, I did a stream last night covering the newest filing in the bankruptcy case. It was completely discombobulated, unorganized, and honestly, like everybody is always kind. Everybody who watches, honestly, like 99.8% of the comments I get are beautiful, and I do appreciate just having a stream and talking to people and going over stuff. I do. I also, like, in my own mind, recognize that last night's video is probably one that I would have been irritated with, only because I'm super washed out. Only because the guts of the documents, or the document, I should say, are important, and I kind of skipped over a lot and rushed through it, and then just talked about nonsense, which is the mood I was in, and that's fine. But for anybody who woke up this morning and saw that there is a lot of media coverage suddenly on this topic, I thought to myself, that's not really a stream like I would be proud of to refer people to if they wanted to catch up on what happened yesterday. So I'm redoing it. Especially potatoes are not nonsense. That is true. Also, I know Bacon is live. I actually talked to her before I went on. I can't join her right now because she is talking about something else that she had planned, and I'm not just going to jump in on her. Not that that's what you were suggesting, but we are planning on going over this together tomorrow. But this is going to be more, and so you don't have to watch, but this is going to be more on point with what actually happened yesterday and what it possibly means, and all of that, right? So let's see last night. More rambling. Oh, besides of what I did last night. Just for you, yes, that'll be a private Lauren only video. Okay, so to that point, I'm going to make this part, the intro part, quick, but Reddit has a very I love you so much. Reddit has a very detailed and thorough, and also bulleted explanation of what happened yesterday, and so I would like to follow that format because it's good. It's very good, better than what I came up with, and And I would like to refer to that document back and forth, but I want to, follow the format of the Reddit post because it's more on point than I was yesterday. Hi, Bruce. Thin fries for the win, right? There's a meeting Thursday. Not a meeting, a hearing Thursday. So, thank you for this. I really do appreciate it. RN Raging Nurse says, I can get facts anywhere. I come here because I love you as a person and your takes. I'm still going to give my takes, 100%. I'm still going to give my takes, but I'm just going to try to keep them a little more, like I said, on track. Because, again, I think I would have been annoyed with myself if I was watching that video yesterday. I was so sideways. I had every reason to be. I was tired and trying to cover something, but I'm going to be a little more on it today. So what I want to start with is... Oh, and somebody asked, so we can talk about this. Somebody asked about it. So we can go back to the main thread here and see that, yes, this is just one of several articles. Oh, she's right here. With her hedgehog, ready to glare at everybody. South Florida grifter. That's not the word. Thrifter. See what my brain does with words? See, now this is honesty. It was difficult. Thank you for that. It was. Anyway, sent me this little clip of Ari and me, and it was adorable, and I can't wait. I didn't that's hilarious. Anyway, we're not going to get sidetracked. Okay. So, GoFundMe campaign for beloved Bay Area radio personality Ron Owens, largely used to pay non-medical bills, court official fines. So that's just one of the articles that was posted this morning. There was another one. This was the, okay, I'm not saying that word. What is it? What is the actual name of the publication? Let's see. Because I'm not saying it that way. SFIST? SFIST? Okay. I'm sure that means something. But anyway, the article just goes over the questions about the GoFundMe, which is important for especially people in the Bay Area to read. And be informed about, right? Like that's very important. Besides the fact that we want this stuff, blasted all over the internet because it should be, right? The point is that a lot of people donated to this GoFundMe thinking that Ron and honestly, based on comments in Facebook posts this morning, still believe that this is helping Ron overcome some medical difficulties. And when you look at 2.7% of your spending over 18 months went to medical expenses, that's concerning. So let's find that out. Okay, so we're back to this, and I want to go to, there's one from San Francisco Chronicle, and that one's paywalled, which is, but it was a good one. But also, there's one from the New York Post, and it's really good. So if you guys haven't seen it, go check those things out. Okay, so the GoFundMe is still up, I'm pretty sure. I mean, last I heard. I don't stalk it, but there is one person giving monthly, and that's concerning as well. It could be them for all we know. We don't know. Okay, so let's go. Oh, it's not going to let me do it that way. Can I hide that? Oh, yes, I can. Can't hide that though, right? Okay. So let's see if we can get in on this. So this was posted last night by Mama's Nanas on the JFC Reddit, which is linked in the one article. I think it's the one from the Chronicle. And I'm sure that Martha Ross is working on one as well. Okay, so hello, Echoes, and then Wallace and Texas Proud. Oh, good question, CM. Will Jan disable a GFM now that the media is onto her scams? Great question. Yeah. Great question. Okay, so I know, I have some limitations when it comes to putting my thoughts into cohesive statements. So I need to get better at using tools available for that. I instead argued with Gemini this morning because it wouldn't make me matter of fact, I'll keep a watch on my phone to see if it's happening for me. Dismiss. Gemini this morning. Hello. Okay. So let's see. I'm going to watch it on my phone and see what happens. Oh, yeah. Okay. Is that it? No. Okay. It's not buffering. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So my only thought is that my husband is working from home, and I know that his work, oh, okay. Yeah, it's weird. It still could be like my problem. Anyway, his work is data heavy. Like it requires a lot of bandwidth. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but I'm sorry. Dang. Okay. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go on for another 10 minutes and see how we go. We're just going to roll with it because I think at the end of the day, after I complete it, that it should correct itself if somebody does a rewatch. We'll find out, right? Okay. And if there's an expert in the chat that knows if it'll fix it, I'd appreciate that. Okay, so anyway, going down here to a breakdown of the document. So the strategy, dismissal over Chapter 7 conversion. Okay, so the point is of this document is that the U.S. Trustee's Office has reviewed everything and determined that there is really no point in conversion, or I shouldn't say that. There is no benefit to creditors to do a conversion, and the benefit is for them to receive a dismissal with a bar and proceed with the creditors handling collection themselves. I have been back and forth about this document. I agree, but I also disagree. I believe that you can call me Tiffany. It's okay, Jen. I agree that the document states that there are no assets to liquidate. Converting to Chapter 7 would yield nothing for creditors. Their residence has over $1.9 million in liens against a approximate $1.5 million value. The horses cost of, and that means maintenance costs of, upkeep with the horses is $38,000 over 18 months to feed and board, wiping out any potential proceeds from selling the single valuable pony. we do have a discrepancy in the filing, in my opinion, that there's a pony missing. So we know all about Frosted Flakes, right? But there is no mention of the other horse, Sirocco. And that's concerning, I think. But I do understand that taking possession of a horse, same, Lauren, costs $38,000 per month to feed me too. True story for me. The expense of taking care of a horse does fall on the trustee's office when the government takes possession, right? However, I hope so too, because I feel like that's happening. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was 12 months. So we'll look at the document. I thought it was a year, but regardless, the 38,000, I thought it was over a year. But if one pony is leased, then I don't know how that works. So anyway, expedited process for creditors. Dismissal allows creditors, including mortgage lenders and credit card companies like Chase, to immediately resume foreclosures, lawsuits, and garnishments. Again, I feel like the mortgage company already has an ability to do that since the automatic stay was lifted. I'm not sure the other creditors fall under the stay. That would be a great sourdough question or an MG law question. Because if an automatic stay is lifted after a 30-day period in a filing or even after a court order, then how does that not apply to all creditors? It could just apply to the mortgage, who knows? Because the debtors are serial filers using bankruptcy to stop imminent sales, GMO is seeking a 2-year bar to prevent them from refiling on the eve of foreclosure. It's probably hard for people to see this since I have it in dark mode. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. So let's go to the document, okay? Okay. Stop screen, share screen. It's funny to me because Google just automatically names the document that you have open, the first word in the document, and it's the trustee or it's the trustee's office name. So it just says Eileen for the document when I go to share it. Anyway, so yes, thank you, Wallace. There are more people watching, even with my unstable connection. Thank you, guys. Okay, so let's cover. It does apply to all creditors. Thank you. So, okay, so do you then disagree with that statement that here, let's go to it actually. Where'd I go? Hold on. We're going to skip around in this document today, maybe. Okay, so okay. Where'd it go? One second. I shouldn't have skipped through around. But we can answer one question here. The $38,499 in horse and farm expenses was over 18 months. Okay. Bruce. And yeah, here's the problem. They spent so much money and like no consequences. Okay. Let's just start. Oops. Unredacted part. It's okay. Let's just start at the top of the document and we'll go through it, right? So the trustee's office is submitting a supplemental response to debtor's motion to dismiss. So the trustee's office back in June filed an objection to the debtor's motion to dismiss. And that document was very revealing. It had a lot of information in it as to why the U.S. trustee's office believed that the filing was not in good faith. So this document is supplementing that. It is being these two documents are being incorporated into each other, right? Okay, this is what we do though. So let's be nice to each other. Okay. Hey guys, first of all, I'm not even looking at chat. I am getting distracted by my own self. Thank you for the concern. All right. So then we're going to give the background, and which is basically that they filed a Chapter 13 bankruptcy in August of 2025. And that case was dismissed for noncompliance. They did not comply with the recommendations of the Chapter 13 with respect to their plan. They did not provide tax documents. They didn't pay their payments to the plan, their plan payments. They did not resolve an objection that the state of Arizona tax division made. And they did not resolve the fact that their plan did not, it was not affordable for them, right? You have to prove that you can, not only that, that you should have a plan, right? You have to create a plan. But they did not prove that they could afford that plan, right? And so what they did was they took a lot of their expense information and, in my opinion, minimized it in a way to make it appear that they could. But even in that very scant determination of what their expenses were, the plan was still not affordable. The problem is that they make $22,000 a month, and their mortgages alone are over $14,000 a month. So that is 70% of their income just for housing, and that is not affordable for anybody. I don't care how much you make; it's all relative, right? Well, I mean, if you made more, yes, it would be affordable. Never mind. But if you make $22,000 a month, it's not. So ultimately, because they did not follow through with their plan, the Chapter 13 case was dismissed. Thank you, Lisa. I am trying to get through it. Please remember that I do have MS brain and ADD, so I'm doing my best as well. But here's the thing. Please continue to keep chatting. I will not look, but you can like maybe give an emoji in the beginning if you want to see me respond. I'll star those. But chatting in live chat and tagging people and all that kind of stuff actually helps you in the algorithm. So we do love chat, no matter if it's on topic, off topic, whatever it is. Okay. Dude, I don't know. We'll see. I don't see them shutting down the GoFundMe until somebody forces them to, or GoFundMe pulls it themselves. But so Deb, the reason that they have a mortgage that is that much of their income is because what we don't see here is what Sarah and Christian's income was that assisted them with getting approved for the loan, right? This is an excellent emoji for that. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, the case was dismissed. And then they filed their Chapter 11 case less than 4 months after the Chapter 13 was dismissed, because it was dismissed at the end of January, March, April, May. Okay, yeah. So just under 4 months. I think administratively it wasn't even discharged until March or April, but regardless. On June 8th, so they have this Chapter 11 that they filed, and we've seen that they filed it solely to avoid the foreclosure sale that was to take place, the auction that was to take place on May 26th, which was the following business day. Okay. Oops, sorry. I'm still trying to keep track of what's going on here. See, I'm behind too. So yeah, it must have been buffering. Okay. So I'm going to start this. Okay. On June 8th, they filed their emergency motion to continue the stay. So this was filed. The emergency motion was filed because when you file a bankruptcy case, less than a year from the time that you've had a prior case dismissed, meaning not discharged, dismissed, there is a presumption automatically that it is done in bad faith. And when that presumption exists, the stay is minimized to 30 days on your second filing. So instead of it being for the lifetime of the case or until otherwise dismissed, it is released this day. The hold, the pause, the freeze, whatever you want to call it, is expires after 30 days from the second filing date. That's a problem for Ron and Jan because in this case, if we're going back to June, the mortgage lender would likely initiate the proceedings again pretty quickly, right? So maybe Jan can teach us all how to get some free money. I doubt it. I don't want the kind of free money she gets. Good. I liked that idea for half a second. So what the trustee's office is saying here is that they're incorporating that objection to that motion to continue the stay into this document because it did call out a lot of concerns that the trustee's office had regarding the filing itself and their intentions, considering that their schedules were lacking. They admitted that it was solely filed to alleviate their foreclosure situation, and they didn't have an attorney. That's not a reason, but there was much language and discussion about their inability to obtain an attorney, supposedly, and Jan's claims that that's why they needed this extension so that they could flesh that out. Okay. So, like I said, all this is saying is that the UST is incorporating its objection into this motion, so that it takes the whole picture, including prior arguments, because nothing has changed to negate those prior arguments. Now, a final hearing on the debtor's motion to continue the stay was held on July 1st, 2026, at which time the court denied the debtor's motion, docket 69. Okay. There was an initial hearing that went pretty sideways for them. And then it would continue to July 1st so that the trustee's office, I don't know what her issue is, so that the trustee's office had, what the judge wanted was for the trustee's office to have more time and more information to get a fulsome picture, is what she called it, of the Owens financial situation. And I think that's important. Okay, hold on one second here. I'm going to go off screen and let Ari out of the room because she's pitching a fit for some reason. 1 second. I wonder if I go down here. Does that make it? No, it kind of, well, I guess that works. Maybe that makes it better. Okay, so on June, so now we're going backwards a little bit. On June 24th, 2026, debtors filed their motion to dismiss the case. So this is after that hearing went sideways, right? The UST filed a limited objection to that motion, requesting that the case be dismissed with prejudice and a 1-year bar, docket 61. At the July 1st hearing, the court withheld ruling on the motion to dismiss and directed the debtors to produce certain documents, including an accounting of certain GoFundMe funds received by the debtors pre-petition, docket 69. Okay. Thereafter, the debtors produced documents and appeared for examination under oath at the meeting of creditors pursuant to Code Section 341 on July 16th, 2026. So that's also known as a 341 meeting for that reason. Debtors also amended several schedules and the Statement of Financial Affairs, aka SOFA, dockets 75 through 78. This was the eve of the July 16th meeting of creditors. The court will consider dismissal at the continued hearing set for August 6, 2026. See docket 69. The U.S. trustee now files this supplemental response to the motion to dismiss, requesting that the case be dismissed with prejudice with a 2-year bar to refiling bankruptcy in any federal bankruptcy court. Okay, so again, we went from 1 year to a hearing, then a meeting of creditors, and now after reviewing everything, we're at a 2-year ban. Okay. Again, I think that is critical. So, introduction. In advance of the August 6th hearing, the question the UST has evaluated is whether creditors are better served by conversion to Chapter 7 or by dismissal with a 2-year bar to refiling. The UST has concluded that dismissal with a 2-year bar is the superior outcome. The UST's investigation raised serious concerns and unresolved. Let's start over. The UST's investigation raised serious and unresolved concerns about the accuracy of the debtor's sworn disclosures. However, in light of the debtor's current financial status, dismissal is preferable to conversion. So I honestly feel that, and I shouldn't say feel, believe that every sentence in this document matters, right? It is, I don't think that Ms. Giammo messes around with narratives, unlike some people we know. So the UST's investigation raised serious and unresolved concerns about the accuracy of the debtor's sworn disclosures. If I'm Ron and Jan, I'm concerned about that. Just saying. Okay. However, like even in even considering of those concerns, what the U.S. trustee office is saying here is that in light of the debtor's current financial status, dismissal is preferable to conversion. Okay, so let's go to MG here. MG says, I'm surprised that the court would go that far on a sanction to refiling. The most the court will do here is a 180-day bar to refiling, even when there are good reasons to do more. Good point. We've seen obviously a stipulated bar of 12 months, but a 2-year bar is extreme. I don't think it's unwarranted, but I think it's extreme. And I don't know the law as well as After Hours Respond does. The UST has reviewed 18 months of statements for 8 Bank of America accounts. And that review establishes that there is no meaningful pool of collectible non-exempt assets for a Chapter 7 trustee to liquidate. Okay. Conversion would cause delay for creditors and administrative expense for the estate without the likelihood of any return to unsecured creditors. I don't know if that is the case. I haven't seen what the trustee's office has seen, the U.S. trustee's office. However, I don't know if that is the case. Oh, hold on. Right? We'll see. But I just think, again, oversight is what this is important. After Hours Response says what could happen is a creditor could file a motion for relief under 362 D4, and the judge, the court, and the court make a finding that the filing was part of a scheme to delay, hinder, or defraud creditors. Ooh. If the court enters an order that with that finding, the order could be recorded in the land records and no automatic stay would go into effect for 2 years. With respect to the property at issue. Interesting. So, like, we can't play a game where co-borrowers then file bankruptcy after this is dismissed. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to ruminate on that for a minute. Wow. Okay. That might derail some plans. So I had 2 things start here. So when the life insurance payout is used someday, can a lien or garnish be placed on it? I don't know. Maybe not. It's hard because life insurance is paid to a beneficiary, and it'll depend on a lot. It just depends. I wonder if the judge will ban them from filing for longer than 2 years with all the shenanigans. I think MG just kind of answered that for us. So exactly, the mortgage creditor could get that order and then no stay would go into effect with respect to property, no matter who files bankruptcy. All right, you guys are going to just have to pause for a second while I send MG a message about something. Hold on. Where'd you go? There you are. Right. Don't you guys love this? This is better than rambling, isn't it? Now, and that would go for any subsequent property owner unless they get the court to vacate or modify on a showing of good cause. So like they can't just like transfer title out of their names and say, but it doesn't apply to us. Check. Jack says, sorry I'm late. I've been helping Jan buy all the copies of the Chronicle within 25 miles of any GoFundMe donors. Oh, that's funny. Oh, yes, absolutely love this. Couldn't love it more with the fact checking. Okay. So, again, I have concerns based on what I have witnessed over time with their financial movements, whether or not that I think there are assets. I mean, the probate locker alone should have some good stuff in it, right? Not to mention whatever is still in San Francisco, because I can't believe it was sold off, and the clawbacks and everything. I agree that, well, we'll go into it. Okay, so the UST's concerns regarding the debtor's sworn statements. This is where I would be worried. Thank you. Dave was so kind. When I first came out and started talking about this, he was so kind, and he's always continually supportive of everything I say and do related to the financials. It feels very surreal reading all these articles this morning, hearing Love Trap to be referenced. I'm overwhelmed with the feelings. So MG says, it might be too late to get such relief in this case, given their likely dismissal, but I would expect that if one of their co-borrowers tried to file BK, the mortgage lender would ask for that relief. That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Just Jen says, would that apply to Jan's likely lawsuit against the lender for the alleged violations she found? Yeah. Yeah, there is a New York Post story, which is good. Okay, hold on here. Okay, thank you. Now, across 3 sets of schedules, which include the Chapter 13, the original filings in this case, and the amendments filed at dockets 75 through 78, the debtors have sworn to statements that cannot all be true. And I cannot highlight this enough. Okay? It's the thing that I've been screaming about since they first filed. There were statements in that one that were, inaccurately documented, inaccurate. And like the GoFundMe not being disclosed and whatnot. But and then when we see the additional filings, like, it shouldn't be a puzzle to just refile under a different chapter. You can still include a lot of the same information. And then you definitely should be disclosing things that were highlighted that you should have disclosed in the first case. I agree. Just Whistling Dixie says, I bet New York Post won't take this one down. Right. It's definitely, I think the tides have turned. Tides have changed. Is that the right phrase? I don't know. Anyway. Ownership of debtors' residence. So then we're going to go through some of the inaccuracies, right? There are more. But this is some of what the U.S. trustees' concerns are. Ownership of debtors' residence was sworn at 50%, then 100%, then 50% again. So in 50% in the Chapter 13, the initial Chapter 11 filing said 100%, and then 50% again in the amendments to schedules of the Chapter 13 for 11. Unsecured debt was sworn at $511,000. Can't highlight something to save my life right now. Then at effectively zero, because in their Chapter 11, they did not include a proper list of creditors or debts in their initial filing, in the Chapter 11 skeleton filing, which isn't really a skeleton filing. Then in their amended schedules, for this case, it was asserted to be $729,875. Part of this is because the discrepancy is due to one, there's a Bank of America credit card in their Chapter 13 filing that they initially said was a $77,000 balance. The proof of claim in that for that card ended up disclosing that it was $144,000. Or I think it said 70,000. No, it said 77, and it's twice that, which is a weird number to be exactly twice that. But anyway, and also their the debt to her brother was initially listed in the Chapter 13 as $1,700, $1,715, and it came out to $136,000 and some change. I think it was $136,700. Jen. True. Just a minor misstatement. And Jack says, masterful use of sworn by Jen G. She could have said claimed or stated, but sworn carries much more weight, meaning much more weighty, can't read, than the others. Yes. The New York Post article is good. Let's see what response says. I would be surprised if their claims of violations have any merit at all. I agree. 99.9% of the time, the claims are BS. The mortgage servicers follow strict guidelines from the feds and GSEs. Yes, and it is also why I will say again, I will sidetrack and rant, that they will not get a modification, in my opinion, because they are not eligible. And the lender and servicers have guidelines to follow in those cases. So they have a debt, an ownership of a debt that they are responsible to make sure is secured and paid. Okay. So anyway, I think that, again, between the difference between some of this is that their debts were higher than they initially in their Chapter 13 stated. So they did adjust for that in the Chapter 11 when they made their amendments. But that, like I said, there are also some debts that are curiously missing. The debtor's animals were valued at $1,100 in both prior filings, described as 7 retired horses and a dog, while the recent amendments value the Quartet Farms LLC interest at $62,000 and values a single pony at $60,000. We don't know which pony that is. Debtors previously answered no to Schedule G, asking whether any leases were outstanding as of the petition date. But just recently disclosed a 12-month lease of the pony to a third party. This is where I think there's 2 ponies. There's 2 ponies. I don't know that she understands that there are 2 ponies. Ponies, horses, a pony and a horse. I don't know the difference. Please don't try to correct me. But there's 2, not 1. Neither prior filing disclosed business income. Yet, the SOFA amendment reports a gross business income of $40,000 for 2024, $81,000 for 2025, and $26,000 year to date for 2026. Neither prior filing disclosed GoFundMe income, yet the debtors had received more than $100,000 from GoFundMe donations. The amendments recently filed now disclose receipt of $131 of GoFundMe funds in 2025 alone. Let's see here. I wouldn't be surprised if they get some kind of loss mitigation option offered given the numerous options, but I would expect all borrowers be required to be part of any modification they get. I agree, and I don't know that that is going to happen here. We'll see. I see the chances of modification as being very low, and I think that's why they're fighting so hard in this arena, right? Item 13 of the SOFA, which is the Statement of Financial Affairs, item 13 of the SOFA asks for all gifts over $600 per person within 2 years before the petition date. They answered no. Twice the debtors stated under oath that there were none, but the recent amendment now discloses $19,608 in gifts to daughter Laura Owens. Previously, debtors swore twice that they had made no payments on a debt owed to anyone who was an insider within 1 year before the petition date. But the recent amendment now discloses $21,000 paid on behalf of debtor's daughter Sarah Owens in May of 25, March of 26, and May of 26. So, that's interesting. Okay, let's back up a second here. If we remember from the, I appreciate everybody trying to tell me the difference. I won't retain it. If you want to tell people in chat so they understand it, that's wonderful. I won't retain it. I know myself. It's something that I won't retain. I wish I could, but I won't. So I just don't expect that of myself. I used to expect myself to remember everything, but I don't anymore. I just got an unknown call from California, so I'm going to just check that out. Okay. Anyway, the business income. If we remember from the meeting of creditors, there was a lot of questioning that happened surrounding the business income. And the concern for that is it does not match these amounts that they've listed in their how do I say this? The amounts they listed in their amended schedules in this current case does not match the supposed tax filing, federal tax filing that was submitted to the U.S. Trustee's Office for review. If we'll remember from that, if you guys want to see my ridiculous notes from that hearing, I believe that the total amount of reported income was for Nobody Told Me in 2024. And it was either 47, I think it was 6,000 and some change. That's not my note. Okay, well, anyway, it was 6,000 and some change, I think. 67, 64, something hundred. It was not $40,000 for 2024. Okay. And then there was a lot of discussion back and forth from a person who has supposedly been a business owner for decades, that they did not understand whether this was gross income or net income, right? Even though she claimed to understand what gross income was. The deposition did not happen. It's canceled. We all the best research sent that out last week. Well, not yet. So hold on here. There is a motion to dismiss the case, not discharge. There's a difference in bankruptcy world. And the motion is for dismissal with a 2-year ban, which means that they can't file again for 2 years. So who knows why it was canceled? Maybe the trustee's office had enough information and they didn't need anything else to proceed with their analysis. Who knows? We don't know. Okay. So I'm also concerned about the horses. So it's concerning for me. Okay. So the fact that it did not match their tax returns is clearly a concern. I wish it would have maybe been highlighted here, but I don't know if a transcript of the meeting of creditors will, I'm sure it's provided to the court as well. And maybe there's something, I don't know. It seems like everything that is concerning should be listed as public information. So I'm not sure why it's not called out here. No, we don't know. There was a question about whether or not they actually filed their taxes. We don't know. We know they didn't file state of Arizona taxes, at least for 2025, because there's a claim in the case for that. Okay. So neither filing disclosed the GoFundMe, and then that's where we get into the heat of, what the issue is. And also the fact that there were insider payments, etc. So until the recent amendments, Debtor Nailers membership and manager interest in Good Luck Shop LLC went undisclosed in both cases, even after the Arizona Department of Revenue raised it in the Chapter 13. They filed a claim, right? The recent amendments also disclosed for the first time $7,000 in cashier's checks, Charles Schwab accounts, and $10,000 of antique furniture. It's more than furniture. There's furniture, paintings, all kinds of stuff that is in a locker, a temperature-controlled locker in New Mexico. While a monthly in-home care expense of $2,400 and a monthly horse insurance expense of $425 each appeared in one filing and vanished from others. So the $2,400 a month horse insurance, oh yeah. So they must have let those policies go, but they still should have, either they paid them or they didn't. They had to have paid them if they're not due anymore. That's weird. Kind of like how they paid Cherry thinking it would just go away and nobody would ask about it. That's not how that works. Statements of this character, if proven to have been made knowingly and fraudulently, would support an action to deny discharge under Code Section 727A4A, which, as we reviewed last night, is on the basis of fraud. I'll read it again. Okay. So the court shall grant the debtor a discharge unless, where'd it go? A4A, let me get to 4, unless the debtor knowingly and fraudulently or in connection with the case, A, made a false oath on or account. Yeah, that's a problem. Right? Okay. The U.S. trustee does not abandon that view, but pursuing that remedy would not benefit the creditors that the UST is bound to protect. Again, this I disagree with. I think government oversight is necessary in some cases. This is a good question before we move on. Since some of their horses are allegedly home in Florida, wouldn't expenses related to them require disclosure? Seems like they are committing multi-state fraud, and I believe Florida and California even maybe. Yes, it's concerning, in my opinion. Okay. Fletcher Boy. Hello, Fletcher Boy, by the way. Thank you. Charles Schwab has bagels in the waiting area. No cream cheese, though. Is Schwab involved in the Schmear campaign? Eric, that's funny. Sorry. I mean, good for them for finally. I feel like that's a new account. I don't know. It said 5. I have 5 different accounts. That tells me you're playing maybe a game in the market too. But what was that? GameStop manipulation stuff that went on. They're probably trying that too. Allegedly, in my opinion. But I'm glad they maybe are starting to save some money. Under $1,000, but something. Okay. The U.S. trustee believes conversion would yield no distribution. So Code Section 112B1 directs the court on a finding of cause to convert or dismiss, whichever is in the best interests of creditors and the estate. Conversion satisfies that standard only if a trustee would have something to administer. That may be a legal statement. As I said before, every sentence in here matters, and that may be the case. And my disagreement of how, this could play out in terms of dismissal versus conversion and oversight varies, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a U.S. trustee lawyer. I have no experience in this. Just shouting my opinions on the internet. Okay. Here, a trustee would not. The debtor's residence is secured by liens exceeding $1.9 million against a value the debtors themselves placed between $1.5 million and $1.576. So also, I will say that it's not just the debtors, because why would we listen to anything they say when we 2 paragraphs earlier mentioned false statements? But there was an evaluation done, valuation starting with a V. The evaluation that the, what do you call it? Mortgage lender did, which was likely just a drive-by appraisal, but still they did an analysis and they determined it was 1.5 million. I think the 1.576 is maybe a Zillow number or something. Who knows? I don't know where they got that number. Maybe another BPO was done and we just don't know. But with first position arrearage above 191,000, that continues to accrue. So we have the mortgage companies. Let's talk about that. We have the mortgage company's claim. Let me grab it real quick here. Bankruptcy. I believe the Padlet is all caught up. We're going to scroll on down. Proof of claims. Come on. Here we go. I can't scroll the way I want to. And look at this. Okay, hold on, guys. Bear with me here. So we're going to look at the mortgage company's proof of claim. Here it is. I am going to go over this in detail, and we're going to have some fun with it. But the mortgage company, yes, Sarah and Christian signed the last 4 mortgages on the home. They were added to the title of the property in the spring of 2023. where they signed for 2 mortgages, paying off the prior hard money loan. The 2024 mortgages, then there's 2 paid off the 2023 mortgages, and that's how we ended up with almost 1.8 million in mortgages alone. And then we have this additional arrearage that just keeps climbing. So, hold on here. There was a point. Letting it get dismissed with prejudice, 2-year ban allows creditors to get some of what is theirs, but the government can still be involved because they probably will audit taxes. And yeah, that I agree with, but I'm saying involved in creditor recovery and oversight. So, let's see here. Thank you, Hula. I don't know. Here's the thing. How did Sarah convince her husband this was a good idea? I don't know. He's a grown-ass man, and he signed 4 mortgages. I don't know how old he is, but Sarah's almost 40. So we're not talking about children anymore, really. These are adults making decisions, adult decisions. And everybody has consequences for that. In my opinion, allegedly. So, let's see here. Yeah, so we talked about this. I maybe she can file for bankruptcy. I don't think that'll go well, but it might buy some more time. Anything they do is just buying time for the inevitable. I've said that in the beginning, and I'm still saying it now. The amount of time is longer than I thought it would be, but oh my gosh, you guys, I just figured out how to switch tabs. You're gonna hate me because now I'm gonna be obnoxious. So I wish. That'd be amazing. I miss my calling in life, man. Okay. So let's go back real quick here because I think we can look at this. Yeah, this is okay. Switch to this tab. Oh, check me out. Maybe that wasn't, but I feel like it was, but maybe that wasn't available in my prior version of StreamYard. Shout out to my peeps who got me some StreamYard that is upgraded. Okay. So this is the First Mortgage Company. This is like their technical. Okay. Back up. The mortgage company is okay. The servicer is Select Loan Portfolio. Select Portfolios, SLS. What is it? Select Portfolio Services, SPS. God, girl steps out of her industry for 6 months and she forgets everybody. And it's literally right here. Select Portfolio Servicing is the mortgage servicer. Okay, that's who collects payments, does things like pays the, taxes and homeowners and all that kind of stuff. They make sure homeowners hasn't lapsed, which in this case we believe it has. If it has, then they put force placed on. They just overall maintain the loan, right, and keep tabs on it. The actual mortgage lender is U.S. Bank Trust Company, and the mortgage is part of a securities package called Colt 2024-3 Mortgage Loan Trust. So this loan is in a securities package that has investors attached to it, and it is responsible, therefore, to not lose a shit ton of money if possible. So After Hours Response says, unfortunately, anyone with interest in the property or liability on the loan could file bankruptcy and get a stay. That is why relief under Section 32D4 is so powerful. And he mentioned that earlier in the comments. So if you missed that, go back because I brought it up on the screen and it's a really important aspect of this. So right now we have the claim amount of, I cannot highlight on these docs, $1,753,385.12. Yeah, the homeowners is lapsed apparently, and the lender has forced placed insurance on the property. Henrietta says, people keep talking about this, opening them up for investigations, but how does that happen? Can JG or judge refer them to the IRS? I don't know, like, the administrative logistics of how it works, but I do know that just in the same way that Judge Mata referred, Laura for investigation, I imagine it works. I imagine it works the same way, right? Like there's a referral somehow in the background. I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm getting there. Sorry. The proof of claim ledger does show escrow disbursements for taxes and insurance. So let's get down here. Okay. So, we have, let's just start at the top. We have, the principal balance, the interest that is due, fees, escrow deficiency, and that all totals up to 1.7 million and change for a delinquency. And the UST could make referrals to the U.S. Attorney's Office and could also give the IRS a heads up to look into things. Thank you for answering that question, because I don't know how it works and I've avoided it. I just go off vibes. Hello, Hellville. I hope I'm not stepping on you again. I decided to do a more, what's the word? Concise covering of the motion filed by Jennifer yesterday. Okay, sorry. So delinquent taxes. Hold on here. Attorneys, interest, county tax. I'm trying to remember where there is this disbursement here. I'm trying to remember where I saw forced placed insurance, but I saw it somewhere. Okay. So yeah, that's, we're gonna, it only works one time. You can swap. Sorry, I thought I had literally learned something there. Oh, hi, Jupiter James. So anyway, they have this arrearage plus their second mortgage has an arrearage as well. And again, that continues to grow every month, plus every time a disbursement is made out. There is no equity, and a trustee would likely abandon the residence under Code Section 554A. That means that they would let the lender proceed with a foreclosure action. Okay. The animals present no value for creditors for a different reason. Whatever the pony is worth, and the $60,000 figure is the debtor's own estimate, the estate would have to take custody of a living animal and expend estate funds on shelter, food, and maintenance. The debtor's records reflect that those costs include boarding charges, feed and supply purchases, veterinary services, and association fees, aggregating $38,499 in horse and farm expenses over 18 months, which really isn't that bad, to be honest. Anyway, a trustee would need to fund boarding, feed, veterinary care, insurance, and transport from an estate with no cash, would need a specialized broker to reach a narrow market. There's plenty of those, and would do so while the animal remains subject to a 12-month lease. Yeah, everybody does hate forced placed insurance, and it doesn't cover shit. Okay, I understand your question here. Could Sarah and Christian swap positions on the loans with Ron and Jan, as in Sarah and Christian taking out new loans to purchase the property and Ron and Jan as their co-signers? Here's the deal with mortgages, especially. It's a joint and several, meaning everybody is a debtor. Everybody is a co-signer, co-borrower. There is not a primary borrower and a sub-borrower, right? Everybody is jointly and severally responsible. So that wouldn't matter, is what I'm trying to get to. It wouldn't matter. It would still be 4 people taking out a loan. And there's no way on earth they're getting approved for any kind of mortgage at this point in time, that I believe. I mean, I just don't see it. Okay. The 7 remaining horses are described in every filing as retired, which is to say they have no market value and cost money every day. Custody and sale expenses payable ahead of unsecured creditors under Code Section 503B would likely meet or exceed any proceeds realized by the Chapter 7 trustee, who must close the estate as expeditiously as is compatible with the best interests of the parties in interest. Okay. Yeah, Frosted Flakes, again, I will say it, what I said yesterday is makes more money than Laura at this point for them. Frosted Flakes works harder at his job than Laura does at any job, in my opinion, allegedly. There are no other apparent non-exempt assets for Chapter 7 trustee to administer. The amended schedules disclosed Schwab holdings of $831, retirement accounts of $172 and $102 that are excluded or exempt, and income consisting of exempt Social Security and pension payments. Yeah, that's true. In a Chapter 7 case, all those things are exempt. Remaining personal property, at least that's what I learned, because I didn't think the pension was, but I was corrected last night. Thank you, Sourdough. I don't believe it's entirely exempt from civil action, but that's to be determined. Remaining personal property is largely exempt under Arizona law and worth little net of the costs of collection and sales. And household goods held in storage secure roughly $26,000 in unpaid charges. So even if there is something in San Francisco, there's also a backlog of charges, right? Okay. So was mine. My brain was off for last night's stream, for real. So I'm trying to regroup. The insider transfers described above are the only theoretically available assets as avoidable transactions, but realizing on them would require adversary proceedings under Code Sections 547 and 548 funded by an estate with no unencumbered cash. First of all, we don't know that, because I believe that you're allowed to ask for your money back first, and then you file the adversary proceeding. But worst case scenario, yes. Moreover, a Chapter 7 trustee may eventually determine that the transfers are uncollectible. And that doesn't mean that they were proper. It means that, for example, collection from Laura Owens is already called into question by the fact that Laura Owens recently filed her own Chapter 7 filing in this court, which was ultimately dismissed. The GoFundMe funds. Okay, hold on one second. Let me just stop there. I want to double check something. I want to, okay, make sure I'm caught up on everything. Sometimes my very amazing people that help me through all of this send messages when I'm on a stream and I don't see them, and then afterwards I'm like, I should have read that. So I'm just double checking sporadically. She competes with Sirocco. And how is that paid for? It's a great question. I don't know. Okay. The GoFundMe funds are beyond recovery, and any remedy lies outside of bankruptcy. The UST has particular concern about the GoFundMe proceeds. This is the highlight of the articles that were published today. This is absolutely what everybody's talking about now. Please explain your question. Henrietta says, were the clawbacks people talked about just fallacies? What do you mean? Sorry, I want to give Henrietta a chance to ask that. I think I know what you're saying, but I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Clawbacks are a real thing. So I'll just answer and then you tell me if you meant something else. Clawbacks are a real thing. Clawbacks happen. Again, I have a case where Mr. Terry Dake was involved in out of the same court, where the court, filed the adversary case, and the adversary cases are not uncommon to claw back money that was paid improperly prior to filing to either an insider or a creditor, whatever it may be. And that, yes, this is a good point. Sourdough Reen says, no, the clawbacks are very real. JG is just stating her opinion that they may or may not be collectible. And that's why I tried to, that's why I tried to clarify that. So it's not what the U.S. trustee, aka Jennifer Giamo, in this document is saying is that if this case was converted to Chapter 7, she does not know whether those clawbacks would be viable. Yes, and the process for pursuing a clawback can be lengthy. So what I've seen, even in the cases that I've studied about it, is that a lot of times that adversary case is ultimately dismissed. My assumption is that what they do is they ask first, then they file and please correct me if I'm wrong, After Hours or Sourdough, they file first, they request the money first, they say please first, the person says no, in this case it would be Sarah, says no, I'm not giving the money back, and then they file the adversary proceeding, and Sarah goes, holy fuck, I didn't know you were serious, here's the money, because I don't want to be involved, right? And so I feel like that's how they end up resolving, again, having zero experience in it, just based on cases I've reviewed. And Sourdough says they would just need to be collectible to justify the expense of obtaining them. Right. So that's the other thing, right? So in the case that I had, it was already a Chapter 7 case. So it wasn't all this complexity of a conversion and all that stuff. It was a Chapter 7 case, and they clawed back $6,000. So yeah, that's how they do it in Florida. Thank you. I feel like that's pretty standard from what I understood. Okay, so moving on. Outside of bankruptcy, the UST has concern about the GoFundMe proceeds, right? The debtors received approximately, let's go back real quick, pause again, or they get a judgment for the clawback, and then the UST has to actually recover it. That's the other thing, and I think that's why the point of Laura not being collectible was made, because she doesn't have anything. The debtors received approximately $132,000 in GoFundMe payouts into a single account. Approximately $109,290 of it in January of 2025. So immediately Immediately when that was opened, they got money. Can you imagine the rush that they felt? They probably thought they could ride that out for a very long time. But then they went and misplaced it. Okay. The campaign solicited the public by reference to Debtor Owens' Parkinson's disease, history of cancer, and cardiac condition, and included the representation that his medical struggles had taken a toll both physically and financially. Again, every sentence matters. Over the 18 months reviewed, healthcare and pharmacy disbursements from all 8 accounts totaled $17,209, roughly 2.7% of net spending. Okay, hold on. Yeah. It is 2.7% of their $580,000 spending. Hold on. Oops. Yeah, that's not good. I would be concerned with the legal ramifications of that. That's scary. Okay. While discretionary spending totaled $191,192. That's a lot of money to spend on not your mortgage or utilities. In the period during which the funds were deposited, $118,000 was dispersed, including $61,000. I'm using averages or whatever. I'm rounding here because I'm not going to say the whole number. It'll make my tongue twist. Including $61,000 of mortgage payments, thousands of dollars of consumer credit card payments, $44,000 in capital contributions to the debtors' limited liability companies, transfers to their adult daughters, retail and online shopping, food delivery exceeding $1,200 per month, restaurants, subscriptions, and travel. Wow. That's concerning. Those facts raise a serious question whether donors received what they were promised. But it is not a question the UST can answer here. Here. Every sentence matters. Every word matters. In this arena, the legality of the GoFundMe is not the focal point. It is not the purpose. It is a sideshow, right? It doesn't, anything the bankruptcy court does not solve that issue, okay? The remedy available to the UST is an action under Code Section 727 to deny a discharge, which we went over. That section protects the integrity of the bankruptcy process and preserves creditors' claims. It compensates no one. A judgment denying discharge would return not a single dollar to a donor, would create no fund, and would not adjudicate whether representations on a fundraising page were true, which is very important. The donors of the GoFundMe, and the donors and the GoFundMe Inc. and GoFundMe Inc. are the parties withstanding to pursue whatever legal remedies exist as to the solicitation and application of donated funds in a forum outside of bankruptcy. Let's talk about that. Sour Doreen says, Jan and Laura should look up the reasons Teresa Giudice went to prison. I'm just saying. Yeah, I would be worried if I were them. I totally agree. Yeah, there's some things I see here that I don't know. I'm not even going to tell them. I'm not giving advice. Good luck. I'll say that. Good luck. Moreover, based on the UST's review of recent bank records, the GoFundMe funds have been fully expended and the accounts carry nominal balances. Jen will say, see, they agree with me. Therefore, recovery of any funds for the benefit of creditors by a Chapter 7 trustee would require multiple preference actions by an estate that lacks unencumbered assets to fund such lawsuits. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Response says, imposing a 2-year ban on filing BK could allow for potential GFM claims to be pursued without the cloud of a bankruptcy stay, at least for a while. Yep, I agree. I think they should really, really be worried about this. Hold on here. Making sure I'm up to speed. Hold on. I got the impression from Jan they may have checked AI read legality of their GFM. I did not actually say it was for medical expenses or just strongly imply. Yeah, no, but that's still a problem. That's a problem, especially when you made statements to outlets and Facebook comments and posts about it. That's a problem. And you definitely shouldn't, if you're not knowledgeable about the law, should not check. You shouldn't check ChatGPT for your legality needs. RJ says Jan's lives have been worse than Teresa's, and Teresa did time in Club Fed. Yeah. Conversion to Chapter 7 to allow for recovery by the Chapter 7 trustee would also require the Chapter 7 trustee to retain counsel for that litigation, which decreases recovery to creditors. True story. We saw that happen immediately on Laura's case, and I'm sure it would be the case in Ma and Pa as well. So while we're trying to, we see like that this is what they may conceive as a win. It's not, because at the end of supposedly at the end of a Chapter 7, your debt could be discharged. So Doreen mentioned last night that it could also be objected to, but I mean, you're assuming that would be assuming the objection of a discharge would win. Oh, here we go. Just Jen with a receipt. We don't call a receipt clean for no reason. Here's Jan's comment to Mercury News. Black said that even their medical insurance, Medicare, and long-term care insurance couldn't cover all the residual healthcare expenses. Yeah, like I'm sure that doesn't cover Macy's and funding your LLCs. Following multiple health crises, which also included pneumonia and COVID-19 over the past couple years, Owens spent up to 6 months in the hospital. When he returned home, he needed an in-home caregiver. At one point, Black said Owens was given 6 months to live, but he's beaten the odds. I think that in-home care post-hospitalization is something that would be covered. I looked into it for my father-in-law once. Yeah, they'll be able to rent. When you have an income of $22,000 a month, you are afforded things and privileges that regular folk are not. Okay. I'm just going to we know that it was listed in the report. It was technically 2.7% of their spending over 18 months or over a certain period. I think it was over the full 18 months because it was $17,000 over the period of the GoFundMe. So yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Yes, they run a credit report, but here's the thing. These people have exempt income sources that make them eligible to afford an apartment or a condo or whatever. Like, they have the ability to continue on with their lives, unlike other people who are financially wrecked from these kinds of things. Okay. They make 22 grand a month. Any landlord, given a sob story, would likely take the gamble on that. I don't think it's the greatest decision, but on paper, they don't look that bad in terms of income because, again, they'll be able to pay. Okay. Where'd we go? Sorry. The best interest of the creditors and the estate favor dismissal. So if the case is converted, creditors will be relegated to waiting to pursue their rights while likely standing to receive nothing from a Chapter 7 liquidation. A Chapter 7 trustee would be appointed, a new meeting of creditors, and the estate would remain open through investigation and abandonment. If the UST filed a complaint objecting to a discharge, the deadline would run 60 days after the first date set for the meeting of creditors. Under federal rules of bankruptcy, a contested code section 727 action would then require discovery, depositions, motion practice, and trial. At least a year would pass between conversion and judgment. I absolutely agree with this part. And the cases that I have reviewed, they drag out for years. The administrative process alone affords them some benefits that would potentially harm the creditors in this case. Moreover, there is no guarantee that the UST would prevail under Code Section 727. In response to a Code Section 727 action, the debtors would likely attribute false statements to prior counsel, meaning what? False statements to prior counsel and to debtor Owens' documented illness, and would likely argue that the amendments, evidence, and intent to correct rather than conceal. The UST believes those defenses would fail, but cannot represent that success is assured, and in any event, success would still yield no distribution to creditors. Again, I think the U.S. Trustee's Office has their number. Right? Yeah, no, Ron definitely had good coverage, has good coverage. Okay. Thank you, Dragon Voter Susie. Thank you. So a Code Section 727 judgment would leave creditors holding exactly what dismissal gives them now, i.e., claims enforceable under state law only a year later. Okay, so that's the thing. In bankruptcy court, pension is exempt. In state court, it might not be, especially in a situation where money is being commingled, right? So, it's an uphill battle, but I think it's worth it. And some of these creditors, like I said, Bank of America alone, they owe over $260,000 to in unsecured debt, which is wild. Under dismissal, creditors act immediately. The secured lender may notice and complete its trustee sale. I argue it can now. But maybe that's why they're waiting. Maybe they're waiting to see if a conversion happens. Okay, Brainiacs, does a Chapter 7 conversion reinstate the stay for the mortgage? That's interesting. I read that it didn't, but I could be wrong. Unsecured creditors may file or resume state court actions, including 2 pending actions by JP Morgan Chase Bank. It's really one action. It's regarding one debt. They filed 2 different cases to collect one debt because they filed one before the prior bankruptcy, dismissed it upon bankruptcy filing, and then after that bankruptcy was dismissed, they filed another one. It shouldn't. Thank you. So my point is, I don't agree with this statement because you should already be able to proceed. Here's the deal. Yes. Minnie T says, I don't have a smidgen of that credit card debt, but if I stop paying, they would go after me. I'm positive, and I'm on SSDI. Yeah, I've seen them do it. Once people put their exempt funds into a bank account, if it's commingled in any way, there's arguments to be made in some places. If the stay is already terminated by operation of law, thank you. So my comparison here to all of this is they've lived in this house for a year for free, comfortably, and God forbid somebody in Maricopa County walk into a Walmart and take a loaf of bread because you're paying for that and then some. But I know that not all things are comparable, but it's just frustrating to me when I see financial stuff not pursued. No trustee stands between them and their remedy. Oh, sorry. Unsecured creditors may file or resume state court actions, including the 2 pending actions by JP Morgan Chase, to reduce claims to judgment, record judgment liens, and garnish non-exempt assets. No trustee stands between them and their remedies. The 2-year bar assures that those remedies cannot be interrupted again by a 3rd bankruptcy petition filed on the eve of a sale. Does it though? We'll see. The comparison is therefore between okay, back up. We're going to back up to this because let's go revisit that thought. If Sarah and Christian file for bankruptcy to initiate a stay, it's such a bad idea. It's such a bad idea. I said this several times. If Ron and Jan had walked away from their Chapter 13 dismissal, and not refiled this case, they would not have opened a can of spiders that they are currently dealing with. If they fuck around and have Sarah and Christian file, I don't see that going well for Sarah and Christian either. Everything they've done has only made everything worse. So, okay. The comparison is therefore between a certain and immediate benefit to every creditor and a contingent one, available to no one for at least a year, that would cost the estate money to pursue and would distribute nothing even if succeeded. I would have said likely here, but I hear you. Creditors are better served by remedies they may exercise today than by prospect of a judgment that is neither assured nor remunerative. Fruitful, we learned last night. Beneficial, recoverable. Yeah, I think there is like if we're gonna compare them, like people who walk into Walmart and steal makeup or something, right? It's not even food, right? I'm not speaking disparagingly of spiders. I'm saying that they have opened a can of spiders. Spiders are very hard to corral. Okay? I don't think that's a disparaging statement. They're very hard to corral. Putting them back in the can would be very difficult. I use spiders instead of the W word because W's make me puke. And you don't want me doing that on stream. Okay. I disagree. LA Firecat says, what spiders? What is anyone going to do? All they have to do is say, we don't have any money except our pensions and you can't touch that. What the fuck are they going to do? What spiders? So there's lots of stuff. I mean, the tax records don't match, the filings don't match, the bank records don't match the GoFundMe description. And again, I have a belief that a legitimate argument can be made that those funds are not exempt from civil litigation. Okay. Cause exists to dismiss for bad faith, which also supports the 2-year bar. This part, I'm so sorry, is very boring to me, and I have an ADD brain, 100%. It is basically stating the case law, and for the court's purpose to make the argument that the court has the authority to issue a dismissal with a 2-year bar. Bad faith is dismissal for cause with prejudice. Is basically, this is the TLDR of it, right? And again, the UST trustee addressed each of the factors required to find bad faith in her stay objection at docket 37. Those same factors contribute cause for dismissal with prejudice. Specifically, the debtors made numerous misrepresentations in their pleadings in this case and in the Chapter 13. The history of the debtors' filings and prior dismissal show complete disregard of their basic obligations as bankruptcy debtors, including failing to file and produce tax returns and failing to cure substantial planned payment arrearages. They made one payment in their Chapter 13 case over the April, May, June, why did I start with April? August, September. So September, October, November, December, January. 5 months that they were required to pay. They made one payment, the first payment, and then stopped because life. So the sole purpose of this bankruptcy filing was to halt an imminent sale, and for the debtors demonstrated egregious behavior, including failing to appear at the scheduled initial debtor interview in this case, and failing to produce the U.S. trustee standard documents required of all Chapter 11 debtors until ordered by the court to do so. Okay. In the recent case of Henry Corbin, the court confirmed that the bankruptcy court has authority to dismiss a bad faith case with prejudice. In considering whether dismissal with prejudice is permissible, the Corbin Court cited the Second Circuit Court of Appeals decision in re Casse, which held that the Bankruptcy Code authorizes bankruptcy courts to dismiss bankruptcies filed in bad faith with prejudice, that is, with a bar on future filings beyond the 180-day period contemplated by the code. The Corbin Court further pointed out a number of courts have joined Casse in recognizing the bankruptcy court's power to dismiss bad faith bankruptcy cases with prejudice. With prejudice can be used. I'm not going to quote all that other stuff. Can be used conjunctively to enjoin a serial filer from filing yet another bankruptcy petition for a period of time in excess of 180 days. See also final report of ABI Commission on Consumer Bankruptcy. It has become somewhat common for courts to enter orders of dismissal with prejudice, prohibiting the filing of a new bankruptcy case for longer than the 180-day period. A dismissal with prejudice cannot be avoided simply because the debtors themselves seek voluntary dismissal. The Corbin Court addressed and rejected precisely that argument, holding that while the debtor does have an unfettered right to dismiss their bankruptcy, she does not have the right to evade consequences of her bad faith filing. In this case, a 2-year bar to refiling is reasonable and proportionate. The debtors have filed 2 petitions in 10 months. Each filing interrupted a creditor remedy. 2, actually. And the second filing followed a dismissal based on deficiencies that the debtor made no efforts to cure. Not one single mortgage payment. A shorter bar would expire before a trustee sale could realistically be completed and would invite a third filing that Code Section 362 was enacted to discourage. 2 years is long enough for creditors to complete their remedies without interruption and not so long as to foreclose relief should a genuine need later arise. Okay. Counsel for the UST has conferred with the debtors regarding the relief requested herein, i.e. dismissal with a 2-year bar to refiling. Debtors stated they will agree to that relief, but dispute the factual assertions in the UST trustee's supplemental response. Yeah, this is like the headline, right? Being of that age, having years of income over 7 figures, and not having any equity or investments or anything else. And you cannot tell me now that, I'm going to sneeze, that it was because they were trying to stay afloat for due to medical expenses. It's just not the case. I mean, like, the meeting of creditors alone showed us what was going on, right? That's a problem for them. So let me just make sure here. I covered everything that we talked about. I'm going over the Reddit post here so we can share this tab instead. So I started here. I'm just going to make sure that I covered everything. It looks like I did. Yep. And yes, thank you to CM for the document. CM has come through for us so much in regards to bankruptcy documents. It's truly impressive. Can't say that enough. I don't know if, let me check my messages here. Why do okay. What the heck? It says I have notifications in Discord, but then I don't. Let's just double check. I wanted to see if there were any more arguments. Somebody posted a picture of the kitchen in response to the delivery. Okay. Yes, GoFundMe was informed. Thank you, Minnie T. That these people were not appropriating funds correctly, or at least in the way that was disclosed, and they said, "Ah, well, right." I don't know where to go. Besides delaying, what is their plan exactly? Or really? Great question. I cannot, my brain thinks in terms of logic, right? So I cannot, I can't predict what they're gonna do. Oh, the video, I can link the video. Hold on. I should link the all the best YouTube channel in my little descriptions that I put in. I have so many channels that I sub to that it's way easier to just search for them when I need them. I know that's crazy, but it just is what it is. Go back. Here we go. The All the Best Research YouTube channel has a lot of information. That is relative to all of this. It is there's tons of information. And again, you know, when stuff is posted regarding the bankruptcy stuff, I've definitely been consulted. Yeah, I think that's like a lot of RJ says Jan is going to go full sovereign citizen and claim all sorts of misdeeds based off what she read in third tier chat rooms full of experts. Yeah, I absolutely. I could see a UCC filing. Oh my God, remember those? During the foreclosure boom, people would try to get out of foreclosure by filing these UCC things, and it would be like 10 or $100 million claims. They were baseless, but it was fun, crazy to watch for a minute while our underwriters had to figure out what to do with that stuff. But yeah, I can see that. Oh, we don't know. Are you talking about visual video? Yeah, no, that's illegal. I don't share that stuff. Sorry. That's like a big no-no. You should be obtaining video or audio legally from the court and not screen recording a federal court, and then posting it. It's one thing to screen grab state courts, you know, and share them, especially when it's a state court that you're not in a residence in. But a federal court is a big no-no. So I'm not going to be linking that video anywhere. That person has been told that. So that's all I'll say, I guess. I don't endorse that. Actually I am going to address it. It's gross, in my opinion. Okay. There are so many people that work nonstop on all of this stuff, day in and day out. We have endless rabbit holes that have been buried, or that have been dug, and oodles of information that has come out of it. And the oh, it's Sharon. Sharon has big feelings about my ums. Did you get the attention you want, hon? Let's just leave it up. If you want the attention, let's have it. Nobody delete that. Let me know when you've received the attention that you're seeking. I'll wait. I may talk while I'm waiting, but I'll wait. So, fuck off. Get up here and do it. Seriously, if you can do better, do it. I don't care. My point is, going back to this video, the video is an actual video of Laura's meeting of creditors that somebody recorded the video of and posted it. In my opinion, that negates a lot of work that many people have done. I'm going to say it so much now just because I can. And it's disrespectful, in my opinion. Nobody owns this case. Nobody owns coverage of this case. But really, to just jump in for clicks and views, come on. No, I think so. Everybody's asking, like, is that Laura or whatever? I think it's a real person. I don't know. I hope you I hope you eat every single that I spit. There are miserable people out there. It's fine. I don't care. I do disagree with this. I don't think that will be the result of it. I just don't think that you should break the rules for clicks and views. And nobody's holding you hostage, Sharon. Leave, please, if you don't like it. The whole point of this stream was to clarify and break down my rambling last night. I'm sorry it's not to your liking. Definitely. Anyway, I don't know. I even if somebody sent it to me as a creator, I would not share it. It's just my opinion. I just don't think it's cool. It's not cool, man. That's all. Yeah. I think people don't get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. And nothing that you say to that person will change their opinion. Right? I bet you. And Jack, please don't ever break down my ums, okay? I might cry about that. You're watching a person in full ADD mode with a degenerative brain disorder review complex materials in real time while also trying to engage. So yeah, I actually think my ums are killing it. Like, look at this. Seriously, you're jealous of me, Sharon. Look at this. Look at how my hair is so thin right here. I am having a fit over this little spot right now. And do you guys just see my brain freeze? I don't need that crap. I absolutely put it on the screen so that we could give her the attention she needed. Hopefully she moves on. Let's see here. What? What about your house? Your house is paid off. Okay. This is crazy. What does your house being paid off have to do with anything? My house is paid off. Suck it. Suck it. Good one. I mean, be more creative, please. Not yet. Not yet. I need to save this stuff. Not yet. Oh, that's probably the deleted message. Thank you for whoever caught that. So here's the thing. I got it. Hold on. Wait. I'll let you in 1 second. I just needed to take some screenshots because, again, degenerative brain disease, and I forget what's what sometimes. Oops. So we're just going to look really quickly. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, by the way. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sourdough. Do your thing. I have tried. My problem is, okay, I want to know if you also have autoimmune because we're off topic now. So if anybody wants to tune out, feel free. I covered the documents and that was what I wanted to do in a more, although Sharon disapproves, concise way. You do? Okay. So are you on immunosuppressants? Because I can't get a good answer from anybody about whether those things will work for me because of my immunosuppressants. So, and I'm sorry if I asked you questions you didn't want to answer. I'm so sorry. No, we got rid of her. Oh, no, it's fine. I mean, again, she wanted attention. We gave her attention, but we're not going to keep giving her attention. She can just fuck off into space. Guys, I try to be conscious of it. In a professional setting, I am more conscious of it. Instead of ums and ahs, I probably like breathe in more. And the thing is, this is not a professional setting. Oh, okay. I think I can do this. In a professional setting, I can pull it together. This is not a professional setting, period. That's all. End of story. Okay, maybe Sharon is the person that posted the video. I know they like to be anonymous, but that'd be funny, right? No, I can't find her. Oh, because you banned her. That's fine. I'll deal with that later. I think I can go into like, I think I can fix it later. It's fine. Let's forget it. We're not giving her any more attention. Yeah. I mean, it was somebody doesn't like, you know what they don't have? They don't have an autographed picture of me at the pool with my goggles and swim cap on. So are they really winning at life? I don't think that the hair stuff will work on my scalp. I've been told by my regular doctor, who I trust very, very much, that it won't work because I am on an immunosuppressant. That is the cause of my thinning hair. It's not been super thick my whole life, but it definitely has gotten thinner. And I don't want to add another thing to my regimen of medications if it won't work anyway. Yeah, I do. So that's my other issue, right? PG Teach says, Tiff, you're amazing. I'm a teacher and I totally stutter and stammer when my ADHD brain is overwhelmed. We are humans. Exactly. I have not been to a dermatologist. I probably should. And there's also a question about whether or not I can get injections, because I do have a serious allergy to IV steroids, injectable steroids. So I go into anaphylactic shock, like it's serious. I can take oral steroids. And so that's how it affects me. So I don't know because I think those are steroid injections. Oh, so yeah. A trade one for a problem for another, for sure. Like I am definitely appreciative of the benefits that I get from my autoimmune or my immunosuppressant that I'm on. The benefits outweigh the why can't I think of words today? Negatives. So here's the thing that nobody talks about. I barely have to shave. Like, I don't hate that. I'm fine with that. I'll dig that. Yeah, my words disappear. I always say, I can't find my words. So, I think that makes sense because everything in your endocrine system is connected. So that makes sense. Yes, and brain fog is a thing with autoimmune, and brain fog is definitely one of my more serious side effects, whatever, effects, quirks. So anyway, that, let's see. I want to find out if the article, let's see if we can, I think we can read this while on the line, because this is, or what? How old am I? Here we go. Let's watch this. It's going to be, okay, stop it. It's going to be, of course, it's a, oh my gosh, wake up, Tiffany, for real. Share screen. We're going to read the article from the New York Post because I do like it. But it's got all this data that's going to be causing an issue. Okay, there we go. So, California power couple snarl in fresh scandal. Just a year after daughter indicted over fake TV star pregnancy. Is there still read only? Is that still a thing? I love this. Wallace Juno says, Tiff, a couple of months ago, I was trying to think of the word horizontal and landed on landscape parallel. I dig it. Sometimes that's the way it goes. The way I have gone around a word to explain it is its own feat. Okay, so a Bay Area power couple has been dragged into, let's see if I can increase the size of this. And wish I could get that. Oh, there we go. A Bay Area power couple has been dragged into fresh drama involving a GoFundMe months after their daughter allegedly tricked a reality television star into thinking she was pregnant. Legendary. Now, we can't get hung up on details. All right. Legendary KGOM radio host Ron Owens and his wife, former journalist Elizabeth Ann Naylor, allegedly misled GoFundMe donors who believed they were spending money to cover his health issues. Oh, hold on, guys. I hear Ari whining. 1 second. Come on. This girl. Okay. Here, let's try to put me down here and see if that helps. Allegedly misled GoFundMe donors who believed they were sending money to cover his health issues. Instead of spending the $135,000 on Owens' medical bills for 4 bouts of cancer and some serious heart issues, the family is accused of paying off personal expenses. And then we've got pictures. Ugh, who cares? This is important. Federal officials from the U.S. Trustee's Office have reviewed 18 months of the Bay Area couple's bank records and discovered the couple spent just $17,000 on health care. Among those were their mortgage and their daughter Laura's legal expenses for allegedly lying to the Bachelor star Clayton Echard about being pregnant to force him into a relationship with her. Laura was indicted in May 2025 on 7 felony counts of perjury, fraud, forgery, and evidence tampering related to a pregnancy lawsuit she filed against him. She is currently set to go to trial later this year after requesting a continuance from the scheduled trial date of July 29. It was a scheduling date, but we're not going to get hung up on details. Federal officials from the U.S. Trustee's Office have reviewed 18 months of the Bay Area couple's bank records and discovered the couple spent just $17,209 on health care and pharmacy costs in that period while pouring money into their mortgage and limited liabilities they controlled. They spent more than 6 figures on their home and controlled businesses. Really, they spent 5 figures on their mortgages and the rest on everything else, except for utilities. The federal filing also noted the couple splurged on food delivery, credit card payments, restaurants, their daughter's legal expenses, subscriptions, travel expenses, and retail purchases. Laura is also fully financially dependent on them and lives with her parents. The Department of Justice did not conclude that the couple broke the law, but the spending presented a serious question whether the donors received what they were promised. I believe, because I've read this part in every single article, I believe that however this story caught on, they misunderstand the one statement where the U.S. trustee noted that GoFundMe remedy is not applicable in bankruptcy court. The couple never promised to pay medical bills in the GoFundMe, but much of its content focused on his health challenges. Red flags first went up for the couple's spending after they filed Chapter 13 bankruptcy several months after raising the GoFundMe money. The bankruptcy revealed $2.3 million in liabilities and owed over $511,000 in debts to more than 40 banks, credit card companies, and other creditors. These numbers are wrong, but we're not going to get hung up on details. But nearly $500,000 in the debt came after the couple raised the money from the GoFundMe. The couple's bankruptcy request was declined this year, and they again filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May, this time trying to get bankruptcy protection for their Scottsdale home. Technically, that's what they were doing both times, but again. As part of the federal investigation into them, they have since dropped their Chapter 11 case with a 2-year prohibition on filing another bankruptcy petition after disputing assertions in the filing. This is not concluded yet, so no. Naylor says the GoFundMe was meant to help the family's financial difficulties rather than medical bills alone, but federal officials suggest that's an unreasonable assumption. I don't think it's hate this site. I don't think it's reasonable to assume donors would know or expect that GoFundMe money is being used to pay Macy's credit card bills, attorney with the U.S. Trustee's Office, Jennifer Giamo, said. A trustee asked the court for the 2-year prohibition on the couple filing for bankruptcy because they filed in bad faith, they said. Many inconsistencies were found across the couple's bankruptcy filings, the filing said. The couple said that had to do with the Owens' health issues and problems with prior counsel. Across 3 sets of schedules, the debtors have sworn to statements that cannot all be true, the trustee wrote. Trustee is wrong in this context, but we're going to move on. Creditors and lenders would be allowed to go ahead with foreclosures, lawsuits, and other collections if the couple cannot file for bankruptcy. A Chapter 7 liquidation was considered, but the trustee found no meaningful pool of assets that a trustee could sell to repay unsecured creditors. A hearing on the trustee's request is scheduled for Thursday this week. Yes, it is. It's framed a little weird. I wish that we would have really discussed about insider payments, but whatever. Okay. You guys have completely gone off the rails. I love it. Yeah, that was a good article, right? I feel like that was a good article. So let's check the Discord and make sure I'm not losing anything. God, I love you guys. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. I just wanted to double check my inbox to make sure I didn't miss anything. It doesn't look like I did. Mouse Biscotti. Wish this motion can be posted around Facebook. That's where all his minions go to ask if stories are true. It's like reading about scammers online and asking the scammer himself if it's true, right? It's crazy. Correct. The judge has not made a ruling on this filing yet. So and that's the thing. Ron's supporters are definitely in the comment sections of these articles too. It's whatever. When you see somebody spent $583,000 in a period of 18 months without paying most of the mortgage over that period, 2 months, let's say 3 months total of mortgage payments, for being generous. It's gross. It's gross to see people defend that. I truly believe it comes from lack of knowledge, but hey, sometimes you have to agree to acknowledge that people you supported are maybe not doing things appropriately. So yeah, thank you all for coming. I did actually, I covered a lot. I kept it short. It is possible, even with a little side rant about hair loss and bitches online. But I definitely want to see, that's what happens. I can't read and talk anymore. I used to do closings for a living. Okay. Closings where I recited math, numbers, words to people upside down, talking and multitasking like a mofo. Okay. I couldn't do a closing today to save my life, I think. I mean, I could because whatever. But that's for you. That's for you, Sharon. Thank you, Sourdough. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. So I'm just here, not making any money, doing my thing, talking about people online. It is very, very surreal to see these articles this morning, right? Like, this is stuff I've been screaming about and slamming my fists about for 2 years now, over 2 years. And it's pretty weird to see an article talk about it. And yeah, they're going to get stuff wrong. But sometimes it's like, what? I can't believe where we're at. Yes, thank you all. Okay, go on about your business today. Thank you. Go. Oh, wait, is Bacon still alive? Hold on a minute, guys. I'm going to try a redirect. I learned how. I got to go to YouTube Studio. Okay, for real, bear with me, because if Bacon is still alive, yes, she is. I want people to go to her. So hold on here. Where am I? I'm going to go to my channel. I'm going to go to Studio. I can remember this. Content, right? Live. And then I forget the part after live. Hold on. Hold on. Where'd it go? Okay. What did I? Oh, here we go. Pencil edit. Edit. Right? Hold on. Click customization. Customization. Here we go. This is so many steps, you guys. Redirect. Scroll to redirect and search for the channel or select the live stream you want to raid. Okay. Here we go. I think I got it work. So I'm gonna redirect allows you to keep your, okay, so I think I did it. Save. Oh, watch this. Okay. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, guys. Thank you for hanging. I am going to end the stream, get a library card, and go watch Bacon. Thank you. Thank you.